Ready and geared up to go for today. My name is Raymond Okolo. 360 Issues is a program where we get to discuss societal issues and then try to see how we can come about a possible solution to some of the problems that are bedeviling the country at this point in time. And we look at all facets of life or all aspects of it as well, to talking about politics and a whole lot going on around us, in the country. We are going to be discussing something very, very important because we know that the 29th inauguration, 29th of May inauguration, just like we read yesterday, remains sacrosanct, and of course it's something that is not changing. And so a lot of people are talking about that 29th date. And we're talking about it. We're talking about the fact that we're going to be having a new president, and of course our own president who just came back from going to see the dentist in the UK, having a presidential teeth check. He's now back in the country. He went for coronation and used the opportunity to see the dentist. We don't have dentists here in Nigeria. The one you and I go to, I think they're just people that use plier to remove teeth. But now he went over to the UK, and then he's back, by the grace of God. He's back to Nigeria, and planning the handover. And so we already have a president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his vice president, Shatima. So some residents in Abuja decided to file a suit to stop Tinubu's inauguration, stating that the issue is still in court and all of these things, and so that should not be done at this point in time. And some people are still of the opinion that 25% in Abuja, the FCT, that was supposed to be is still valid, and as such, based on the fact that there are a lot of issues going on in the country at this moment, there is no need to go ahead with the inauguration. The IGP of police, the Inspector General of Police, has come out to say that anybody who's trying to, interfere with, the inauguration would be arrested and, severely dealt with. And so we have a lot of issues going on at this moment. So we want to take our time to really, look at the things going on, and then the fact that these 5, FCT residents are decided to take up this course and then go to file a suit in court to stop Tinubu's inauguration. We're going to take a look at that, take a look at what actually led them to do this, and then the processes they've gone through and all of these things, and then coupled with what we have seen go on from the time of the election to this point that we are in at this moment. We'll talk about all of this and more.
All right. What we have here is that the 25% votes, as most of us are clamoring for, before the election, that is even during this election that I understood that before you are declared that you should have at least the 25% votes in the FCT as included in the constitution. Prior to now, I don't know that something like that happens here in Nigeria. But now we know, and this is what we are vying for. Although that the INEC is saying that it's not what I don't know how they interpret their own law. I don't know how they interpret their own English language, because what I saw there was actually written in a plain English language. So these people has come out, to sue for this particular plain English language as it's written in the Constitution. 5 FCT residents ask court to stop Tinubu's installation and extend Buhari's tenure. 5 residents of the Federal Capital Territory FCT have filed a suit at the Federal High Court, Abuja, demanding an order to stop the swearing-in of the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on May 29th for failing to secure at least 25% of votes cast in the FCT. Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress (APC) was declared the winner of the February 25th presidential poll with 8,794,726 votes. The plaintiffs Anyebunam Okoye, David Adza, Jeffrey Uche, Osang Paul, and Chibike Nwachukwu sued for themselves and on behalf of other residents and registered voters in the FCT. The originating summons marks FHC/ABJ/CS/578/2023 was filed on April 28. The complaints, through their lawyer Chuks Nwachukwu, urged the court to stop the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Aliwula, any other judicial officer and/or any other authority or person from swearing in any candidate in the February 25th presidential election as President or Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They added that they should remain until it's judicially determined with finality or in accordance with the provision of the Constitution that such candidates have fulfilled the requirement of Section 134, subsection 2, Article B of the Constitution. The plaintiffs aver Tinubu failed to secure at least 25% of votes cast in the FCT. They are asking the courts to determine whether or not the person who is to be elected President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and consequently administrator of the FCT through the Minister of Federal Capital Territory and the Federal Capital Territory Development Authority on the first ballot is required by Section 134, subsection 2, Article B of the Constitution to obtain at least 25% of the votes cast in the FCT. Whether the plaintiffs and other residents and registered voters in the FCT Abuja would not be discriminated against if any state within the Federal Republic of Nigeria were a substitute for the FCT. Should the questions for determination be answered in the affirmative, the plaintiffs are praying for a declaration that no candidates in the February 25th presidential election may validly be sworn in as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria without such candidates having obtained 25% of votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And the story goes on and on and on, but we virtually know what this particular story entails. So here, 5 plaintiffs, 5 residents of FCT has come out openly to sue the Attorney General, at least to withhold the swearing in of the incoming President and Vice President. And they are saying that it should be on hold until there is legal declaration of the status that we are in. I don't know whether INEC, it is now the duty of INEC to interpret law. I don't know whether it is their duty, because according to the law, according to the act that they created, they actually made mention of this 25% votes of the FCT. Then why is it not being adhered to? That one aside, these people are coming in to say that the swearing in should be withheld until this case will be determined, and that the Buhari's government should continue to extend. And it's looking like our dear president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, is saying that it have do. I want to go and rest. And some persons are clamoring for interim government, at least till this case is determined. So this morning we are trying to find out if this case is actually a good one, and should this particular tenure, should there be extension of tenure until the decision concerning this case is actually made.
The lawyers were saying the same thing as well too. They said we have 36 states of the Federation, and then 2/3 of that is about 25. So if you are a presidential candidate, you must have 25% of the total votes cast in at least 25 states of the Federation before you are declared winner. If nobody has that, if the candidate with the highest number of votes still fails to have the required 25%, there will be a rerun of the elections. And now we know how this election panned out. We know that yes, a certain candidate had most number of votes, but then failed to secure that 25%, and then including the FCT. And then we have another candidate as well too, who did not get the highest number of votes, but then got the FCT. So if you look at all of these things, it says clearly that there should be a rerun based on what we have actually seen. Now, I am not a lawyer, so I cannot say, okay, yes, let me come out here and then try to interpret the law. But in a situation where the law is simple, it is plain, it is open for everyone to actually see what it means. I don't think that there is much to actually be, would I say, deduced from this. You don't have to look at it and say, okay, yes, this really requires the knowledge of SANs, senior advocates. Let's bring about 10 senior advocates to come into the room, and let's try to all see how we can come up with something better. This is quite plain. They made it clear to everyone that you must have 25% in the states, and then the FCT included as well. So when you look at all of these things, it just begs the question: how did INEC come up with the result that it did, and then declaring a winner? So these people have come out now in Abuja to say, let's wait until at least this is sorted out, and then maybe there should be a rerun. We don't know what you guys think about the situation. We're going to find out what you guys think about it today. And then the fact that these 5 or 4 people have actually come out to say all of these things, and then are trying to, 5 people actually, 5 residents in Abuja, coming out to sue the Attorney General and of course the CJN over the declaration of our Senator Bola Tinubu as the nation's president-elect. We're going to talk about all of this and more.
I will just talk on the aspect of the democracy that the former Secretary of Nigerian Bar Association National Human Rights Committee said. He said the process might be flawed, but we must respect the tenet of democracy. So I will just talk about a little of what he has said. And he said, regardless of the shortcomings of the process that saw the emergence of Tinubu as the president-elect, nothing could stop his inauguration. He said Tinubu should be sworn in to keep to the tenets of democracy. Other than what the law says, there is also what is called democratic conventions and practices. Okay, there are unwritten codes, and one of them is that you cannot have a Lucana in a democracy, the lawyer has said. So he said, our democracy does not give room for a Lucana. If Bola Ahmed is not sworn in on May 29th, who then will be the president? It is unconstitutional and democratic to have an interim government. So I'll just talk about talking about the democracy part of it. Since 1999 that we began democracy during election, we have experienced so many cases in court, and the inauguration actually took place right from the past. Even with cases in court, we've experienced such that even during the process, they actually inaugurate the president-elect. So I will just leverage on the aspect of the democracy he has said. But to my part, I will say that since 5 people or 4 or 3 of the FCT citizens are coming out now to talk about it too, if we say that democracy is the government of the people, and this is what the people want, I think something can be done. So talking about the democracy aspect of it, if you are leading us as the people, and majority actually wants the inauguration to be postponed just because of the situation on ground, I think the people should be followed. But if we have a majority of people that are supporting that the inauguration should go on, so I think it should actually go on, to my part. Because if we are saying here that they are leading us, and we as the people have a voice, we have something to say concerning this country, and if majority of people are actually wanting the inauguration to be postponed, there is nothing wrong about it. But in the past, we have election that people cases are in court, and the inauguration went on. So it should not be this time around that it will now change. But if most of the people want it, let it be, since they are actually leading us and we have a voice in the country.
We have a voice in the country, so they should be the ones that are leading. But then, if you have a lot of people coming out, it's just 5 at the moment. But if you have a lot of people coming out to say, that we should, probably, hold on for now. Let's hold on for now. Let's try to see how we can solve the entire situation. Remember that we'll do after the election, and then INEC declared. We had some people who were in support of Tinubu going to front of the INEC office, saying that they would occupy that place until to make sure that nobody tries to change the will of the people. Now we have these people now going to court. So who is actually speaking for the people, whose will are we going to be looking at now and saying that's the right one?
All right, what I'm going to say is I'm giving it up for the 5 residents of the FCT that came out to fight for their own rights. It's actually a good one. At least whether they win the case or they don't, because there is no more time for this to be determined. But at least they did something. At least you know that someone came out to do something. Then if you're talking about democracy, then you should practice democracy from the beginning. Don't talk about democracy when it favors you. Even when it does not favor you, let us stand with democracy.